This is a Riok channeling, 12:16 a.m., Friday, July 12th.
All right, and we thank you for, again, your attention in this transmission. Understanding that right now, the channel is going through major alterations to his energy field that are allowing for him to be able to integrate our energies and the energies of his own higher self much more deeply, much more coherently into his own body. Understanding that for each of you, this is a process that is also occurring. What we mean by this is the following. Right now, your own higher selves are doing their best to be able to integrate their energies more fully into your 3D matrix reality, your physical reality. Your higher selves are now making much more direct contact with you to a point where you will be able to very soon, and many of you are already doing this, to a point where you will be able to hone in on what your higher self feels like, understanding that there are different dimensions to your energy, and the higher self is one dimension of your energy with its own quality. Remembering that if you wish to interact with your unique, authentic signature frequency, unconditional love, what unconditional love feels like, is your access code to your innermost self. When you go into the vibration of unconditional love, it starts to tune you inwards into who you are. Understanding that one level of who you are, one dimension of who you are, is your higher self. So you could say that within unconditional love, there is a spectrum of other states of being that the unconditional love will connect you to, will reveal to you. Understanding that your higher self is one of these levels, one of these dimensions. Understanding your soul in that way is also one of these levels, one of these dimensions. And understanding that it is the higher self that is the bridge between the you in the physical reality framework and the you that is much more deeply integrated within the higher density realms of spirit. The higher self is that bridge. So when you connect to unconditional love, you begin to connect to who you are, and remembering that the higher self is one aspect of this, the soul is one aspect of this, your other incarnations are other aspects of this, your oversoul is other aspects of this. Understanding that it is the unconditional love that is the vehicle to accessing all of these other dimensions of who you are. Now, many of you say, I wish to connect to my past lives. I wish to connect to my future lives. I wish to connect to my soul. Remembering that it is a progressive sequence of exploration, typically, for most of you. Understanding that first you will become familiarized with unconditional love. That will start to tune you in to your higher self, because your higher self uses unconditional love as its language of communication. And we will now expand upon this. The formula our society gives of following your highest excitement to the fullest extent of which you can do so with no particular insistence of any outcome. It is through this formula the higher self then communicates, and it is using love. That is fundamentally the energetics of what the higher self is using when it is communicating with you. And that's why when you explore certain options, you explore certain possibilities, one of those possibilities, one of those options will feel much more in resonance with who you actually are. And again, that's the higher self's way of speaking to you. And understand that to then access the deeper levels of yourself, to discover the deeper levels of yourself, your soul in that respect, when you then follow your passion, you follow your excitement, you're essentially playing a game of connect the dots. In other words, as you begin to follow your excitement and the story of your life begins to unfold through that series of actions, through that series of choices, through that shared vibration of passion over the span of time, you will start to piece together a greater context of who you are based on what you're doing, based on how you're feeling, based on what you're manifesting. And it is all of this information that you then receive through following your passion and following your excitement that you start to connect more dots to be able to see then the qualities of yourself that is shared with your soul. In other words, you will get a flavor of who you are as an individuated being in this incarnation, but you will also see how these aspects of who you are create the experience of yourself on the soul level. You will start to see how these aspects of yourself, of an individuated being, are connected to the soul you. And it is through following your passion, following your excitement, that you start to get dialed in to the qualities of your soul. Understanding that that is one of the most amazing things, in our opinion, of the formula, in the sense that it will start to tune you in to who you are on multiple levels. And again, once you then are accessing yourself from the soul level, that's when you begin to start to see yourself from these other incarnations. This is where you can start to download and pick up different skills, different abilities, and different facets of information that are relevant to other incarnational experiences. Understanding that the soul will oftentimes be the mediator between this incarnation you're directly experiencing and these past or future live incarnations. Remembering again that unconditional love is the key to that door of the unlimited access to your unlimited nature. We would like to go a little deeper now into this understanding of how you can be able to use that ability of self-exploration to explore the nature of reality. Understanding that as you begin to experience yourself from these different perspectives of the higher self, of the soul, of other incarnations, and then the oversoul, and then eventually source, as you navigate your way through this matrix of dimensions that lead you all the way to source, not only do you get to see yourself from these points of view so you can have a greater context of who you are, but you will then also be able to observe reality from that point of view. So in other words, you will start to unlock unique abilities of being able to see into different parallel realities altogether. This may be expressed in the following ways. The ability to read, you could say, quote unquote, to scan in, to tune into other people's past or future incarnations. Because when you are operating from the soul level and you can see your own, you will then be able to expand that to see the other incarnations of other people. With that being said, you will also begin to be able to see historically different perspectives of history. You will be able to see how history has unfolded. You will be able to, in that sense, remote view different events that have occurred throughout time. And you will also be able to observe different potential parallel realities of those events and their history, so alterations or alternatives to those histories. Going a little bit deeper now, you will also be able to scan into future realities, different probabilities of where Earth could go, different probabilities of how your life could unfold, different probabilities of how the lives of others could unfold. So understanding that once you are able to observe yourself from these different points of view, you can then expand that to the greater reality that you are connected to, and you can then expand that into the realities of others should you so choose. We thank you for listening to this transmission. Understanding again that love is the key to be able to unlock these different dimensions within yourselves. And as you unlock these different dimensions, you will be able to perceive even more of all that is. We thank you for your attention in this transmission. Our unconditional love to you and to all whom you encounter. Thank you.